Mr. Chair, Ranking Member Fleshman, thank you so much for having and distinguished members of the subcommittee. If there are any, okay, there you go, Mr. Rutherford. Good to see you. Appreciate your invitation to appear before the subcommittee today. It's an honor to be here in person to advocate for my district's priorities this year in the Homeland Security Appropriations Bill. Last week, they had the State of the Coast Guard in Charleston, South Carolina, with Admiral Carl Schwartz in the Lowcountry, and in his remarks, he announced that the service will be substantially increasing its presence in the Charleston area, potentially growing into the largest concentration of Coast Guard assets and personnel in the entire country. The brave men and women of the Coast Guard have the courage and conviction to live a life of service, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to welcome more of them to their new homes in the Lowcountry in the coming years. And as a representative in Congress, I'm responsible for ensuring that they have the resources they need to do their job, a responsibility that I do not take lightly. One of my very first official visits as a United States Congressman was to a local Coast Guard station in Charleston in the midst of the longest government shutdown in American history. And these heroic young Americans hadn't been paid in weeks, and they were struggling to make ends meet. And I had to look them in the eye and promise them I would do everything that I could to end the shutdown and get them back pay as soon as possible. Their government let them down, put candidly. Ensuring all of our service members are paid on time is one of our most basic responsibilities as their representatives. Anything less is irreconcilable with our oaths to support and defend the Constitution and is an insult to our men and women in uniform. We must also make sure that Coast Guard service members and their families have access to the benefits and support equal to those available to their counterparts in the other military services. Last year, we took an important step in the right direction in the FY20 NDAA, which contained my amendment expanding access to the DoD's My Career Advancement Accounts Scholarship Program if the Coast Guard reimburses DoD. The My CAA program assists military spouses to pursue licenses, certifications, or associate degrees to start a new career. And this program is critical because not only does it improve employment outcomes for participating spouses, it also serves as an important tool to boost recruitment and retention. A 2018 study conducted by RAND found that service members who used the program were up to 8% more likely to stay in the military. So to ensure Coast Guard spouses and the Coast Guard as a whole are able to benefit from this vital program, I'd ask that the committee provide the service with the funding necessary to participate. This year's NDAA also included my amendment authorizing the Coast Guard to establish and maintain their own Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps program. And as you know, prior to the enactment of the FY20 NDAA, the United States Coast Guard did not have the authority to create the new JROTC programs without an explicit authorization by law, depriving students across the country of the opportunity to learn valuable life skills. An expanded Coast Guard JROTC program will serve as a valuable recruiting tool and instill the service's core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty in thousands of our nation's young men and women, regardless of their plans after graduation. Accordingly, I urge the committee to ensure they have the resources and the funding necessary to implement this program. I also want to offer my support for funding included in the President's budget towards personnel increases and infrastructure improvements at Base Charleston's to homeport a 5th national security cutter. The Lowcountry is slated to become a center of gravity in the Coast Guard's Homeland Security and National Defense missions, so it's imperative that we provide them the funding they need to renovate and enhance existing facilities to expedite their planned expansions in Charleston. And finally, I want to thank each and every one of you all for your important work as members of this subcommittee. I'm looking forward to working with you to ensure our Homeland Security agencies have the resources that they need in order to keep us safe. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Members, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just have a comment. I want to thank Congressman Cunningham for his thoughtful support of the Coast Guard. I've had a very similar experience. These are outstanding men and women from the Commandant all the way down into the enlisted ranks. We have visited Coast Guard bases all across the country. And I also share your sentiments that these men and women did suffer through some very difficult times during that very difficult government shutdown. Fortunately, that issue was finally resolved, but let's hope that it never happens again. And again, I thank you for your advocacy because they are a great fighting force, they're a great law enforcement force, and wherever they are, they do a great job. So I thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.